Hello everyone, and this is my review for Impact Wrestling on January 19th, 2017. And well, they started off this show, with what they're calling something different, but which is something they had been doing for the past few years, which used to be called Feast or Fire. This year is called Race for the Case. Basically, it's Feast or Fired without the fired part. And in the end, I guess that's okay to go along with it. I'm still not a big fan of this match in general. I thought the match itself was just kind of meh. It was just a bunch of brawling around until somebody eventually got to the briefcases. The people who got the briefcases in the end were Eli Drake, Trevor Lee, Bram of the DCC, and Jeff Hardy. They did do a different concept to it. Instead of having like title matches and everything inside the briefcases, it was just a number 1 through 4. And the rules of it is basically if you get number 1, you get first choice. So you get to pick who you want to go up against, and it is for a title and a stipulation to the match. Or you can just pick a grudge match or something like that in the end. If you get a later number, you can't go after the world title or something in that sense. Like they threw a bunch of rules out there into what they were, and in the end, it was kind of a meh match again. I'm not a big fan of this particular match, mostly because you have a bunch of briefcases this year. But this year, though, it's not like a bunch of briefcases that you can cash in at any given time. It is a briefcase that has to be used in 2 weeks at Open Fight Night. So Jeff Hardy, they did a fact of life segment later on in the show to reveal who got what, and everything in that aspect of it. And honestly, this entire segment was just nothing more than a comedy segment to go along with it. It was at least with the way the DCC and Trevor Lee came off. Like, Eli Drake gets angry because he gets number 4. DCC, they don't say a word or anything like that, but they start just like joking around with everything, passing the briefcase from one person to the next, and look like they're going to pass it over to Tyrus to open it up, but they pass it back along down and like they were playing this very jokingly. And the way that they portrayed the DCC last week, this is a complete departure from what they were typically doing. Now, granted, it looked like everybody was having a lot of fun with it, but towards the characters and everything in that sense, it kind of was like, really, they're going that route with it? So the order of the numbers that they get for Open Fight Night in 2 weeks are Jeff Hardy gets 1, DCC gets 2, Trevor Lee gets 3, and Eli Drake gets 4. So basically, Jeff can pick whatever he wants, any match stipulation for a title or anything in that sense. And Eli Drake gets whatever's left in the end to go along with it. The other thing that they did with the DCC, and this was, like I said, like the bit was funny, but towards those characters, it just doesn't seem to work. And that bit was like when they got number 2, they all of a sudden, like, all their masks had like giant smiles on them and everything in that sense. Like, the bits were decent and funny, but towards those particular characters, they came off a little to go along with it. But all in all, we will see how that goes off with Open Fight Night in a couple weeks and see how they play off of everything. You had Bobby Lashley come out. He was coming out, and he calls out Eddie Edwards to challenge him to a match. The two of them have a very good back and forth in the terms of a promo. I thoroughly enjoyed their promo segment, and it eventually ends with Bobby Lashley challenging Eddie Edwards for the world title, but into a 30-minute Ironman match, which is accepted. Lashley does beat down Eddie Edwards in the after the, or not after the segment, but after the promo was done. Davey Richards comes out and makes a save. This will be interesting to see. You don't typically see them. It's been a very long time since we've seen an Iron Man match of any kind inside of Impact Wrestling, TNA, whatever, in the sense of it. So it'll be interesting to see how they play off of everything in that particular match, which is going to end up being for next week. Like a lot of the stuff that you see this week, and I'm taking a look at it, is like, and I've just been taking a look around, at least in the terms of the main wrestling areas that I watch. It's like, man, were there a lot of promos over this past week. Basically setting up for next week. They're calling next week Genesis as well, so it's like the old Genesis pay-per-view, but it's going to be on main television to go along with it. Let's see, where did they go with next here? Oh yeah, you had a bunch of backstage segments with Maria confronting Brooke, as she was also leaving a voicemail for Braxton Sutter to go along with it. And Brooke and Maria get a little bit of a back and forth, but as Brooke was about to go out for her match to go along with it. So it makes you feel like Brooke's going to have like this program with, maybe not with Maria directly, but like Maria will be the catalyst, will be the what's the word that I'm looking for here? The main conflict towards Brooke, but without it being actually in a physical altercation between the two of them. Brooke does go out there, has a match with Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo has been having a lot of work recently. She's been either working some small stints in NXT, has had a bit on SmackDown as well, and now she's working Impact Wrestling to go along with it. So obviously she's not signed to a main contract anywhere, so she's just kind of working all over the place right now. Her match with Brooke was kind of a squash match because she doesn't get a lot of offense, and the match does go for a little while though, allowing Brooke to get in most of her old offense and everything in that sense. The match was kind of meh. But Sienna comes out and attacks Brooke after the match and basically welcomes her back and says, Maria welcomes you back to Impact Wrestling, and basically kind of starts this program with everything to go along with it. We go backstage again with Braxton Sutter and Maria to go along with everything. Maria's talking to Braxton Sutter, trying to get him to stop training Allie and everything in that sense. Then whispers something in his ear, which kind of makes him want to actually agree with everything that she's saying. Initially, he wasn't going to, but then she whispers something in his ear and says, and basically decides to go along with everything, and does like he goes to Allie later, breaks it off with everything, and then you see a bit with him and Laurel Van Ness leaving the arena to go along with it. So they're pulling something off there. Hopefully this is kind of bringing this whole thing to an end with Allie and Maria and everything in that sense. Like the fans are getting behind Allie and everything in that sense, but I feel like this has been going on for way too long, and it seems to it needs to come to an end in some way, shape, or form. So we'll see how everything plays off. But overall, not a bad way of going here. Up next, you had Aaron Rex actually, it was Aaron Rex and Rockstar Spud going up against Robbie E and Swoggle or Hornswoggle, however you want to play. However you want to play off of everything to go along with that. This match itself, and the way that they're portraying the character of Aaron Rex now, it makes it feel like he's coming off as more of a comedy gimmick again. And, lo and behold, what he was doing in WWE was comedy gimmicks. And now what is he doing in TNA? Kind of comedy-esque matches to go along with it again. So he's kind of just gone full circle, done a complete 360 when he came into TNA. When he left WWE, comes to TNA, there's the 180. He's going to be serious and everything in that sense. And now he's gone completely all the way around. And he's back to doing kind of comical style stuff. And maybe that is just his best way of entertaining the fans and everything in that sense. He's not like the higher echelon of wrestling to go along with it, but it's kind of sad the way that like how quickly he went back to more being a comical style character versus being a more serious one. It didn't last as long as most people would think. When he showed up in TNA, which was back in like, was it July or August? I forget. I forget off the top of my head. It was either July or August when he showed up in there. And he was like, I'm going to change the way that you guys view everything and everything in that sense. And now in January, he's doing more comedy style stuff again. And it's kind of sad to see that. That we never really got to fully see him try to be a completely serious character and everything in that sense of the word. They just feel like he's best at doing this, so that's what he's going to be doing from here on in. But overall with that match, well, first of all, Aaron Rex and Rockstar Spud win the match when Rockstar Spud knocks out Swoggle using one of the rings and everything in that sense. That's the other portion of the gimmick, is that he always has rings on his hand to go along with it. But overall, that match, and it's kind of going more towards him being a comedy style act again, and it's kind of sad to see that that's where they're going with Aaron Rex at this point in time. You had a couple of promos throughout the night with Moose and Drew Galloway. They were talking about the Grand Championship, and honestly, the promos that both of them were delivering were really good promos. I thoroughly enjoyed the promos going into this match, and this was also the main event of the night as well, which is actually what we're up to. We kind of got into everything now. Wow, I'm kind of shocked that we got through everything on that side of it. But both of them talking about the title, what it means to them, what it means to like Moose, and what it means to Drew Galloway, and like how they want to make an impact, change up how people go, taking everything to the next level to go along with it. And they did a really good job building this match. And this is one of the few times that I would say that I did actually enjoy the Grand Championship match. Moose and Drew Galloway did a very good job in this match, and I like the aspect of even like that they made it feel like it was a competition to go along with everything. You never really necessarily fully got that beforehand, with the exception of how everything started with it. So it kind of started off well. I'm still not a big fan of the aspect that the only time that we see this style of match is when the title is on the line. Like, you're not getting number one contenders matches, you're not getting this, you're not getting that. And it would be awesome if they would go back that normal route, the way that they did everything with the tournament, where everything was 3-minute rounds, but the championship match was 5-minute rounds. It would be great to see them go back to something like that in some way, shape, or form. But at this point in time, that's like the one detriment towards the Impact Wrestling Grand Championship, is that the only time that you see that style match is when the title's on the line. You're not getting, like I said, they need to make it feel like it's its own division in some way, shape, or form, but at this point you're only seeing the championship to go along with it. But when it comes towards the aspects of the Grand Championship, this is probably the best match I've seen in that style, well, since they brought it in. And they made the match interesting. I like the ending where Drew Galloway kind of takes the judges out of it, and he does kind of go heel again. He does a low blow to Moose, and then after they restart the match, immediately hits Claymore kick and wins the match, where it had been split beforehand. But most people, like Drew gets really angry after the second round because he felt like he won the round, but they give it to Moose, and so it was split going into the third round. And I like the aspect that Drew goes to each judge afterwards as well, and kind of holds the title in front of them, saying, "Hey, I don't need you guys," or something in that sense. And it came off rather well. I did thoroughly enjoy how they did that particular aspect of the show. So overall, this week's Impact Wrestling was, well, like pretty much everything else this week, very promo heavy, but it was a good show. It was a good show this week. I did thoroughly enjoy a lot of the stuff that they're going with, and we'll see where all these storylines are going along with it. I enjoyed the Grand Championship match. It looks like they're finally going into the home stretches of this whole Ali Maria storyline to go along with everything. The only segment that really came off really weird was the Fact of Life segment where they revealed the briefcases. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of the race for the case, the feast or fire thing that they typically do. But we'll see how everything goes off. And next week they had the 30-minute Ironman match with Lashley and Eddie Edwards to go along with it. So something to look forward to for the next week. So we'll see where everything goes on that. Overall, like I said, pretty good Impact this week. And that is my review for Impact Wrestling this week. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.